I would like to talk a little bit today about the outreach we are doing here in Cyprus and share two brief stories from our outreach at the seafront, what God did in people's lives. We do regular outreach here in Cyprus. We go to the street or we go to the beach. We put out tables, we put out signs that say spiritual art can get a free painting. We explain to people that we are followers of Jesus. We ask the Spirit of God to show us something for the people who come, and then we paint it and they can take it with them. It takes 5 minutes. Once a year, Cyprus has a big celebration called Cataclysmos. It is happening every year, usually over Pentecost, but they celebrate the survival in the flood. It goes on for about 2 weeks, and the city puts out huge tents at the seafront, so the entire promenade turns into a fair. We as a team rent a big tent and then we work in shifts with 2 artists, up to 4 artists, for 2 hours each. We paint for people prophetically for 8 days in a row, from about 11 in the morning until 11 at night. The fair is usually really packed in the evening, especially lots of people come, and sometimes we had people queue from the tent outside along the street for a while. Also at the tent we have the 2 signs out in English and Greek saying spiritual art, come get a free painting. And we have people walking outside who explain what we're doing. Today I would like to share 2 brief stories. The first one is from a few years ago. We usually have people who sit next to the artists and talk to the people we paint for, so that the people we paint for don't stare us in the face, but they will have a conversation going on while we paint. One of our friends here in Cyprus speaks Arabic, Greek and English, and that year she had said she could come 2 mornings during the 8 days. One morning when she came, 2 of the Egyptian stallholders who were selling stuff next to us came in, and one of them wanted a painting. He sat down, our friend started talking to him, and what I saw was a room filled with fog with a chair in the middle of the room. And then on the left there was a window that was open and a shaft of light was coming in. I drew it, I showed it to the Egyptian, it was 4, and I asked him, what do you see? He explained what he was seeing, he started to ask questions, and we started to talk. He said, although I had not painted any person in the drawing, that he saw himself sitting on the chair. He said he was looking for God, but he often felt like he couldn't reach him. There was like this fog around him. He asked more questions, we continued talking, and I started to explain that in our holy book, Isa is called the light of the world. And in the natural, light dispenses fog. At that point, his Egyptian friend who was sitting on the other side turned to him and said, "Man, you need to let the light in. Open the window." And our friend who was interpreting into Arabic we looked at each other and smiled. So this Egyptian didn't make a decision to follow Jesus that morning, but he understood what he had to do, and he was very happy with the painting, took it and left and went back to his stall. The second story happened about 2 years ago. A lady from our church had come, and she had come a few years before every year, and she got a painting. I painted for her, she was happy, thanked me, took the painting and left. Then that day I was in the back of the tent, not being in a shift, painting, and was praying. And she came back with her husband, and her husband wanted a painting. So he sat down. The only thing I could see from the back of the tent was that when the artist handed the painting over, he and his wife were very surprised, and a very lively conversation happened. Afterwards, I asked the artist who painted, a friend from England, and she said when she started, she saw a person and she thought, oh, that's one of the medieval knights they have in these castles here in Cyprus. So she continued to paint, but then she realized that's not a man, I'm seeing a woman. So she painted this woman, handed the painting over, and the husband who she was painting for exclaimed, that's my mother. She was surprised that she had drawn his mother, started to ask questions, and all of a sudden it was, she said, like a dam broke, and it all came out of him. His mother had been an Italian Catholic, and his father was from Saudi Arabia. They had lived in Saudi Arabia, he grew up there, were persecuted, poverty, I mean, he shared a lot from his childhood. They had to flee, he was a refugee then for some years. The artist asked more questions, he asked more questions, they talked for quite a while. And when he left with the painting, he said he had gotten healing from the abuse in his childhood. He had understood that God was alive today and that God was able and willing to meet people and to work in their lives. So, if you're a prophetic artist, if you are brave enough to paint spontaneously for people and to trust God that He will give you something to give to them, next time we do it, next time the fair happens, you're invited to come, work with us. It is a challenge, but there are great rewards because God is active.